So the goal of life is not for you to be happy. Yes, the goal of life is not for you to be happy. Most of the times, we have so much centered our lives around us. Everything is about you. Everything is what you will benefit. Everything is what you will profit. But real leaders think beyond themselves. They think more than themselves. And that is why the leaders who have really changed the world, they thought beyond themselves. And if you are somebody that all the time, all you are thinking about is how will this benefit me? How will this make me happy? How will this just know that you will never ever leave footprints in the sands of time. There was a day recently I was in Bimbia, which is a village around the outskirts of the southwest region around the coast in Limbe. And I went there for a leadership training and I saw the the golden image or the image of Joseph Merrick, which is one of the fathers, missionaries who came all the way, who traveled miles and distance to make sure that they bring the gospel to Cameroon and to Africa. I don't think there was something as happiness for them traveling to a continent maybe they have never been, with a lot of mosquitoes, with a lot of things and so on. The level of discomfort was just too much. But they went that far to make sure that they do something beyond themselves, more than happiness. They sought fulfillment. An average person does not even care about fulfillment. All they seek is happiness. Will I be happy? Will I be happy? Will I be happy? Everything that they do is centered around their life, their happiness. The truth is that when you're in the will of God, there are times you'll be happy, but you must understand that the will of God is beyond your happiness. The will of God is more than your comfort and your happiness. The will of God is beyond your happiness. Your happiness should be that God is happy. Your satisfaction should be that God is satisfied. Yes. That, like John Piper will say, we are most satisfied when God is most glorified. Your number one goal should be that God should be glorified and God should be satisfied. It's not just seeking your comfort and your happiness. If you are somebody who is always seeking happiness as your number one goal in life, know that you will never amount to anything. You will never be an impactful person, because it is not just about you. It is true that in life you will obviously be happy, yes, as a result of doing so many things, but that should not be your number one goal. It should not be your goal. Your goal should be that I will be fulfilled. Fulfillment is a product of a life well lived, but happiness is about self-centeredness. Happiness is all about ambition, an ambitious life, a life that everything is focused just on you. So happiness should not just be the goal of life. The goal of life should be fulfillment. And the goal of life should be that God should be glorified. Revealing God and making sure that He's glorified. That is the goal. That is the goal in everything that you do. If all you do is about I'm happy, I'm happy. Yes, it is true that marriages, for example, should be, maybe you should have a happy home. Yes, of course, it should be. But the purpose that God brought couples together is more than the couples being happy. Yes, it should be more than the couples being happy. It's more than that. You see, Christ leaving heaven and coming to earth, it was not a happy trip. Yes, it was not a happy journey, but it was a fulfilling journey, because it was an assignment accomplished. It was an assignment accomplished. And that is why we have the freedom we have today in Christ. We have been reconciled. We have been justified, because somebody left their place of comfort, somebody sacrificed. And that is why leadership is all about sacrifice. Leadership is all about sacrifice. But unfortunately, in our time, instead of the leaders sacrificing for the sheep, the leaders are feeding on the sheep. The leaders are feeding on the sheep. And the moment you see, that is why if you are somebody, maybe you are in an organization, an institution, anyway, and you see sacrifice, especially from a leader, you need to honor and celebrate them, because those kind of leaders are rare. it is difficult to see real leaders who sacrifice for their followers. Jesus taught that a good shepherd should lay his life for the sheep. But unfortunately, in our time, shepherds are slaughtering sheep every time and they are feeding on them. And so, if you see a leader that is sacrificial, making sure that you get everything that you need to get, you need to celebrate them. Because leaders or leadership can be likened to somebody who is losing blood and still donating blood. Yes, that depicts sacrifice that you may not have, but you are still giving it out. You may not have all you want, but you are still giving. That is why the goal of life cannot just be to make you happy. That is too much of those kind of people cannot do any, they cannot amount to anything. There is no great leader in the world who sought just after happiness. Leadership will take you out of your comfort zone, especially servant leadership. Count from any leader in the world. Martin Luther, they went beyond their personal happiness. Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, Mahatma Gandhi, all of them, they went beyond their personal happiness and self-aggrandizement. So if you want to make a difference in your generation, never make happiness your goal. It can be a byproduct of the thing that you're going to be experiencing, but it should never ever be a goal. Yes. Your marriage, the reason God brought you together is more than your happiness. It's more than your happiness. It's more than your personal satisfaction. It's more than your personal happiness. Make fulfillment your goal. Fulfillment is a product of a life well lived. But happiness is a product most often of an ambitious person, a life that is just focused on yourself. So beyond your personal happiness, seek fulfillment. Seek to fulfill God's will for your life. Seek to fulfill God's assignment and purpose for your life. Make sure that somebody's life is better because you're alive. That is the best way to live. There's no other way to live than to live a life that you live for others. That is what Jesus did. And I think he's the best and the perfect model for us to live. So go and make a difference. Go and be different.